Hello everybody, welcome back, and I am TheChornick, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Elder Scrolls 6. Yes, I know, it's been forever, but I'm bringing it back. I can't wait to bring this back to you guys. All these Elder Scrolls 6 updates and theory videos that I've been doing for so long, and it's been a while, but I'm finally going to try to start bringing them back, especially since Fallout 4's age is coming to its end, and Elder Scrolls 6 age is gonna start coming up pretty shortly. You know what I'm saying? Probably within the next year or so. Probably hear more about the Elder Scrolls 6, and you know, with the DLCs already halfway through for Fallout 4, let's start talking about the Elder Scrolls 6 more. You know what I'm saying? Especially because I've been getting a lot of views on my Elder Scrolls 6 videos recently. They jumped from like 3,000 a day to 13,000 a day, and that's just been freaking ridiculous and just amazing, and it's just like people like want Elder Scrolls 6 already. So let's just, you know, how about I just say all the updates and rumors and leaks that I've been hearing about recently for all of Elder Scrolls 6. Let me lay them on you, because out of all these theory videos that I've made, there's all these speculations and theories that have been stated in all those videos, and I love it. I really appreciate it. I love it when you guys post in the comment section below, tell me what you guys think. Again, post in this video, tell me guys what you think about how Elder Scrolls should be now. What have you been hearing about? What do you think it should be set in? You know, what should be the plot line? All these other things that you want for the Elder Scrolls 6 to be, you know, and how you just want it to turn out to be. Alright, so we're gonna first go over the most popular stuff that has been going on, and then we'll just kind of discuss about it, my thoughts about it, and you guys post in the comment section below what you think about it. You know what I'm saying? So, the first thing I like to talk about is Valenwood. Valenwood. This is the most popular thing from the community. It's the majority of the community what they want. They want Valenwood. Valenwood is the most popular option. So, based upon Bethesda's past and how we know that they're really good at listening to the community, Valenwood is a very possible option for them to choose Elder Scrolls to be placed in. So, I could be 99% sure that Valenwood will have somewhat of a part within the next Elder Scrolls game. Whether that be Elder Scrolls 6 Valenwood, which by the way is my most viewed Elder Scrolls theory video. So that, again, that more proves my point of that the Valenwood is the most popular option out there. And most people in my comment sections of every video say that. But not only just they could name it Elder Scrolls 6 Valenwood, but perhaps that it could be the Dominion in its entirety, which is what I want. I don't want it to be just one province. I believe that everyone wants it to be multiple provinces, but the most preferred is Valenwood. So Elsewhere is the second most favorite I've been seeing. And so, again, Dominion in its entirety seems, you know, what it should be. I think it should be all Somerset Isles, Elsewhere, and Valenwood. They should be their own game. You know, they could call it Elder Scrolls 6 Aldmeri Dominion, or Fall of the Dominion, or Rise of the Dominion, or something along those lines. Maybe they could call it Valenwood, but it's set in, you know, Valenwood and Elsewhere, and maybe Somerset Isles as well. But the Dominion seems to be like the most popular option for Elder Scrolls 6. Not only that, but the events that happened after Skyrim lead to believe that the event that we're going to be placed in the Dominion in some way, shape, and form. Such as the Civil War. When the Civil War ended, both sides were talking about how they want to, or how they feel that they're going to go to war with the Dominion shortly after. Once they, I guess you could say, get better just enough and, you know, kind of recover from the war, and they're going to get ready for another great war. And so, to be honest, I think that's going to be the main plot. I still believe that in the next game. So Valenwood is the most popular option. Elsewhere is the second most popular option. The third most popular option, I think, is Argonia, but there's nothing leading to Argonia. There's, besides some pictures and, you know, just the fact that Argonia is so much different from Skyrim and how they could go that route, that I think just moreover says that it shouldn't be the next game, because it's so much different in terms of where's the plot heading to when it's going to Argonia. Argonia has nothing to do with Skyrim's plot, what Skyrim was leading to. Skyrim was all about the Dragonborn. Skyrim was about the dragons and the Civil War in the background. And this, the Civil War being part of the background, I think, was just our introduction to what the main story would be in the Elder Scrolls 6, which has to be about the Dominion and the Empire going to another great war. So, the next game, I'd say, you can't say Argonia. Argonia, maybe Elder Scrolls 7, but definitely not Elder Scrolls 6. I have to rule that out. Sorry for all your Argonia-loving fans, for all those people that prefer Argonia to be the best. I don't think it's the best option. Now, the third most likely option for a place set in Tamriel is Hammerfell. We did see some trademark leaks, some leaks about the trademark Redguard, as possibly being the next Elder Scrolls title. Redguard was originally thought to be a DLC for Skyrim, but people started thinking it's gonna be the title for Elder Scrolls 6, and so that the Elder Scrolls 6 it's gonna be set in Hammerfell. But, however, the thing is Redguard was already original title for an Elder Scrolls game, so even though it wasn't really part of like the main series, it was still there, like it's just a title. And the thing about what Bethesda said about in an interview, in terms of titles, is that they don't really care about the title of the game. So they could just name it whatever. Like, they called Skyrim, because it was set in Skyrim, obviously it sounded legit that they called it Skyrim. But they really don't, they said they don't focus on the name and the title too much. And they said in the interview that Skyrim 2 would be the title of the next Elder Scrolls game if a different publisher was publishing the game, like if someone else was publishing the game. So, which makes me believe that, wait a minute, if another publisher was gonna title it Skyrim 2, and they were all joking about that title, are they just playing a joke because a lot of people don't know it's the actual game is an Elder Scrolls game and it's not really titled, and it's just like the subtitle is Skyrim, or are they just talking about the fact that it's gonna have a lot to deal with Skyrim? So it could be set in Hammerfell with the fact that it is right next to Skyrim, and it's very, very similar to Skyrim, and we've had a lot of business going on with the Redguards being in Skyrim and kind of just sitting, walking around. We kind of learned a lot about them within Skyrim, and they're just kind of west of, and we could just be right there, it's right next door. Events that happen right after Skyrim could involve Hammerfell. It makes sense. But the thing is, with the title, they're joking about saying Skyrim 2, leads me to believe that, yes, the next game is going to, it enforces my idea that the next game is going to be about the events that happened after Skyrim, or that it's going to be set partially maybe in Skyrim, because if they're joking about the title Skyrim 2, maybe it really has to do with Skyrim. So maybe it's not entirely impossible. I know you're going to be like, okay, what the heck are you saying? Of course it's not going to be set in Skyrim, but you never know. It's not impossible, but it could be partially or maybe entirely set in Skyrim and maybe Hammerfell and High Rock perhaps. So maybe it could be 3 provinces and maybe Skyrim comes back. So it could be, they were joking about the title being Skyrim 2, but again, you could try to interpret that for yourself. But it kind of just enforces my idea that the plot line that was going on in Skyrim, the next game is going to be a result of that. It's going to be the event, it's going to be what happens right after the events that happened in Skyrim. So that's why Skyrim 2 actually is kind of a legitimate name in a sense, because it's going right after the events that happened in Skyrim. It's kind of finishing off the events that happened in Skyrim, if that makes sense. So that's my understanding, interpretation of it, is that it's probably going to be set in Dominion, but it's going to have everything to deal with what happened in Skyrim. So that's why Skyrim 2 sounds somewhat of a legitimate name, but it sounds like a really bad name, but it could be a name. And that's what Bethesda's kind of saying. So you guys interpret what you think about that. Post in the comment section below what you think about that. But that's it for that. Now let's think about Akavir. Akavir is another huge popular choice for Elder Scrolls 6. However, Tamriel has not been completed. We have not visited all the locations in Tamriel. And the story, like I said about Skyrim, hasn't really ended. The story hasn't ended in Tamriel. We can't just move to a different continent. And don't say that ESO is covering, Tamriel, because ESO doesn't have the same story. It's not finishing Skyrim's storyline. It's not finishing, you know, Oblivion to Skyrim from, you know, like it's not part of the main series. This is ESO set 1,000 years before Skyrim, so it has nothing to do with the events that are going on currently. So what we have to focus on is, you know, the events that are going to happen next, and Akavir looks too far-fetched for that. However, we could have a plot line involving the Akavir. Perhaps the only idea I would have in terms of, like, if they could come back, it would be because, or come back, why am I saying come back? They haven't came at all, but if they were to be involved, if Akavir in its entirety or whatever, or just part of it, was involved in the next game, it would have to deal with the plot line of the fact that they would be invading Tamriel. So we would have the Empire and the Dominion perhaps team up, you know, ally with each other to drive the Akaviri out of Tamriel, because the Akavir have invaded Tamriel before. However, they failed when, you know, they encountered the Dragonborn, and when they heard his Thuum, they're like, oh my god, like, that's just, we want to serve you, and they got on their knees and they served the future Emperor and became the Blades and blah blah blah, and I don't really want to go in the whole depth of that storyline, but the fact is that they invaded before. They could possibly invade again. And so the Akavir, I don't think will be on their land physically, but I think we might have a plot line revolving around them. Perhaps maybe in the Dominion game, in an Elder Scrolls 6 Dominion game, we could have them try to invade the Dominion. They maybe call upon the Empire to ally them, or something like that, because maybe the Akavir want to take Tamriel entirely. So that's my best guess for an Akavir to be involved, but I do not believe it will be set in Akavir. People are way too far-fetched with that, so don't even think about Akavir yet. That's for like Elder Scrolls 8 or Elder Scrolls 9, or at least not Elder Scrolls 6, you know what I'm saying? So don't think about that. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all for in terms of what people want in terms of provinces, or the rumors and speculation and desires and ideas for the next game. However, there's one last thing I like to talk about, and that's the popular desire that people want a new engine. People want a new engine for the Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and people are kind of upset with Fallout 4 in the sense that it was too similar to the previous games. But the thing I like to say about this is be careful what you say about changing the engine, because if you change the engine, note that it could change Elder Scrolls entirely, in terms of, like, it won't feel like an Elder Scrolls game. So be careful what you say about changing the engine. Now, again, the bigger risk they take, you know, chance that maybe there's a higher reward. Maybe it turns out to be fantastic. Changing Elder Scrolls 6 entirely might make it a tremendous better game. But what made it so popular now is the engine that they have currently. The engine they have currently is what helped make it to what it is now. Of course, it's going to help improve graphics, but they do that when they're twerking the engine every game anyway. So, again, I agree to a certain extent that they should change the engine to a certain degree, but I don't know if they should remove it entirely, but they should keep it as similar to the original engine as possible in terms of keeping it true to the Elder Scrolls feel, if you know what I'm saying. So I hope you understand where I'm getting to in terms of that, but just be careful what you say about changing the engine, because it changes more than what you think it does. Not just graphics, but like just the experience as well, and the kind of like the feel of it. It's kind of hard to explain it, but engines are extremely important in terms of video games. So just be careful what you say about changing the engine and like demanding that they get an entirely new engine, because just making a new engine takes a lot of time and a lot of people to do. And I've had friends that have told me this over and over again, that it takes a lot of people and a lot of time to make and develop and like get a good idea and agreement on what the engine should be and look like and blah blah blah. So ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say about that. Please post in the comment section below all your thoughts, anything that you've been thinking about or want me to make a video about. I really appreciate all of that. I love you all. Can't wait to see you in the next video, and peace out!